Okay, so this question here about mutations is about certain types of data that are being called mutable or immutable. Now, we talked about that in both our GCSE lessons and the A-level lessons. So, for example, if we go to things on tuples, dictionaries, and sets, we talked about arrays being mutable and lists being mutable, but strings are immutable. Okay, so we cannot change the contents of a string. So let's just put a little note here, actually. Note, since a string is immutable, you cannot write something like this in Python. So if we've got my string equals hello world, we cannot say my string 2, or let's even use my string 0, so the first character, that H, and turn it into a capital. Okay, this would be an error. This would cause your program to crash. And to prove that that is the case, let's just write that here. So we've got my string equals hello world in my string 0 equals, and turn that into a capital H. When I try and run that, it will just literally crash, saying oh, my string, right? And when we run that, it says a str object, in other words, a string, does not support item assignment, which is trying to tell you that a string is immutable. Okay, now, so what can we do instead? Well, that's what this question is all about. How can I change a piece of a string? Well, there are two ways that you can do it. The first thing is we could turn our string into a list. So we could say my string list equals, and we could say list my string. So basically, if you remember how we convert something, for example, a number into a str, we use str. Well, here we convert a list into a string, this string, into a list by doing this way. And I can change a list because a list is mutable. So in other words, it can change. And that would work now. So if I then print my string list, we will see that I've changed this into a capital H. But it's still a list, which is a bit of a pain in the neck. So what I could do is I could say my string now gets converted back from the list into a str. So I can say my string list. Oh, that's still no good because it's still a list. So what we need to do instead is to create a new string by using this join method, and we join my string list. So we're basically going to join every item in my string list, which is this H followed by an E, L, L, O, space, W, O, R, L, D, and we're going to join it together with nothing. In other words, we're going to scrunch together all of these elements in a list, joined together by the empty string. So if I print my string, we've now got a string called hello world. And you'd think, well, hang on a minute, I thought you said my string is a string which is immutable. Well, this is actually now creating a brand new string. Okay, so that's one way of doing that solution. Another way to do it is we start off with my string equals hello world. Let's actually go here. And is to create another new string, to say my string. So this is creating a new version of my string, and I'm going to say this is equal to, and what I can do then is I can use string splicing. So if I want to change this H into a capital H, I can take the my string, and I can go from character 1 up onwards, and I'm going to add that to a capital H here. So H plus my string from character 1 onwards, which basically says this takes that string there, that's going to be this one, and I'm going to add that to a capital H. So if I print my string now, again, get my capital H for hello world. But I want you to know that this is not the same string as this one originally. It's a new version of it. Okay, so I'm not changing this actual string. I'm creating a brand new string and assigning it to the variable with the same name, which is basically losing what this variable was and converting it into a brand new one. So let's go back to this problem. It's saying we have seen that lists are mutable. In other words, they can be changed, and tuples are immutable. They cannot be changed. Let's try and understand here. So they're trying to print off a certain character. You can do that, that's fine. But if we try to assign with this idea here, what we tried to in the start of the video, we're not allowed to do that, and you get this same message to say a string object cannot support item assignment. In other words, a string is immutable. So instead, what they've done is they're trying to basically insert a K in the middle here. Insert a K into the middle of this string. So what they're doing is they're taking that as one string by using this string splitting. So here that's that bit, and then they're going to add it to the end. So this here is saying I want all of the string characters from the beginning of the string up to the 5th character, and then from the start of the 6th character up to the end. So that's splitting this string, this abracadabra, into that string there and that string there, and I'm going to concatenate that with the string K to insert the K in the middle. So what's the task? Well, the task is read a given string, change the character at the given index, and then print the modified string. And there's inputs. The inputs are the first line containing the string S, so that's going to be like our string up here. And the next line contains an integer I, denoting the index location, and the C character, and the C separated by a space. So basically, we're going to take a string, S, and in the ith character, we're going to insert a C. Insert this character C, whatever character C is. And this is the code that's been set up for us. So S is our string that we're going to type, and I is an index that we're going to type, and a C is also the character that we want to input, and this is going to convert this into what's called a tuple. So a tuple are two things that are joined, they're sort of related. I is going to be our the index of our position. We're going to get that from the user, and notice that what we're going to do is we're going to send that to this string here as the position. So that position is the integer value of I. So we're going to input something which is going to be a string, which is basically a split between the input and the character, and send this off to this string. So what we want to return is we want to return the string to go, so the string from the beginning up to the position, and then we want to add it to the character, and we want to add it to what the string was from the position right up to the end. Hopefully that will work now. Let's try that. Run the code. Oh no, and expecting abracadabra, ck. Oh, it wants to replace it, not add it. Right, okay. So we want to replace that character. So we want to, this is going to be, we want to replace the character, what does it say? Read a string, change the character at the given index. Right, okay. So we want to change the character at the given index. So here we want to go position +1. So we want one after the character. Let's try that and see if that works. There we go. So that's worked now. So basically what we've done is we've said, let's go back to the code again. We want to take in a string and we want to replace the character at this position with this character. So we're going to take all of the string that goes up to and including that position, so up to and not including that position, then add the character and then go from the position after onwards. So it's a bit difficult to explain. Let's actually go and do that again. So let's say we've got the word, I'll just write some comments down here. So let's say we've got the word hello and we want to replace the character 2 with a y. In other words, our string is going to look like, instead of 0, 1, 2, instead of that L here, it's going to be a Y. It's going to look like that. So what we're doing is we're taking our string up to and including position 2, so 0, 1, but it's always 1 less than this value, so that's the HE. And then I'm going to add the character, which is the Y, so we've got the HE and then the Y. And then we're going to take from position +1, which is the third character, 0, 1, 2, 3, so that's the L and the O. I hope that makes sense. Quite difficult to explain that one. So let's submit that code and see how we go. Yeah, and everything seems to be working okay.